Yes, the Mafa people.
Okay, the Mafa people. So we are going to talk today on the Mafa people and the Masa people. So we will start with the Mafa people. And first of all, we have to know that the, the Mafa people are located in the border between Cameroon and Nigeria. So for Cameroon, it is in the west, northwest, and for Nigeria, it is in the north, southeast. So we have that hilly place, hilly mountain with the Mandara in the area of Mokolo. Mafa people are also known as Matakam. People used to use that denomination of Matakam more than Mafa. Mata was popularized in the last 10 years, but before they were known by the name Matakam. Matakam, either in place of the term Mafa or Mofa today. It is an ethnic group, as I said, we found in the northern parts, in the far north of Cameroon, and in the side in Nigeria, you have the Mafa people in the side of Adamawa State, bordering the Mandara Mountain, which is a very hilly region, and which is marking the border between, used to say, the colonial division, the colonial partition of Africa have divided countries, divided peoples, divided areas, and the Mandara Mountain also is divided, one side in Nigeria and the other in Cameroon. And the Mafa people are living on that mountain. So they are mountainous people. So the Mafa live in the central part of the northern Mandara, which is a region formed by the north area of the Mokolo Plateau and the mountains of northern Mokolo. So that is talking about the Cameroonian side. They are also living with some other groups like the Kapsiki, the Mofu, the Giziga, the Mada, the Matal, the Zulgo, the Podoko, and the Muyeng. So there are many, many small groups living together, but each group having its particularity in language, but also in some cultural features. The Mafa society is divided into several town or big cantons. You have the canton of Moscota, you have that of Koza, Gabwa, and in the Mokolo, Koza district, and in the Mokolo subdivision. There are also about 1 million Mafa in Kugum, North Nigeria. So in the Nigerian side, we can number about 1 million Mafa people. Religiously, the Mafa population is 7%, about 7% Christians, 83 of them are Muslims, and about 10% practitioners of traditional African religions. And the Mafa people most practice the traditional animistic religion, whether Christian or Muslim. They are they have not abandoned their traditional beliefs. So they believe in a supreme God called Jigile, and their spiritual lives are dedicated to various spirits. Like many traditional Africans, they believe in ancestral spirits. And each hut contains jars, so, sort of huge canary that and they believe hold the souls of the ancestors. They make offerings, some sort of gifts to the ancestral spirits, sometimes as blood offering. So by killing goats, killing cows, and so on. So to give sacrifices to the ancestral spirits. They have protective fetishes also of their homes and villages. An interesting aspect of their beliefs is their belief in the divinity of crabs. And they use the crabs. You have some sorcerers of crab or witchcraft of crab who is using the crab for the sake of divination. So if there is a crime or someone accused of to have stolen, or you have the map showing the border between Cameroon and Nigeria. You have Cameroon in your right and Nigeria in your left. And the area in green up there uh, is the area occupied by the Mafa or Matakam people between Cameroon and Nigeria. So just to help for the location, because when we are going to talk to the about the Masa, we are going to go in the Chadian, Cameroon, and Chad borders, so that we are going to leaving the west to the east to present them. So you have the Mafa people in that area shown in green at the top of the map. So as economic activities for the Mafa, they are agriculturists, and traditional Mafa agriculture depends on a wide assortment of soil management techniques. Why this specification? Because they are in the hillsides of the mountains. So they use, they construct terraces to maintain the soil and also to drain the water for the culture, for the to grow the different crops in that area. And when you visit the Masa area, the Mafa area, you see on top of the hills and on the hillsides, you see that terraces going horizontally and circularly round to the mountain, and going from down to the top of the mountain. And it is very original and very exceptional way of practicing agriculture. So you have that small scale irrigation, because in that area you have the dry season is longer than the rainy season. The rainy season is just about 3 to 4 months a year, so that they have crops which can be grow very shortly in a short period, and then they use that technique to maintain the soil and also to produce those items. They use also some sort of drainage system and canalization to not permit to the water to go up to down, but also but to go horizontally round in a circular way round to the mountain, so that they kept water to for the purpose of that agricultural activities. And also they use those techniques to fertilize the soil. So many techniques were used by the Matakam or the Mafa, like crop rotation. It means that if this year they cultivate this item, the next year they change to cultivate another one, so that it can allow the soil to be fertilized by that rotation. Also, they mix cropping, they mix some plants, and all those techniques help them to produce and to have the livestock. Also, uh, in the area, they, they use many other technique systems to manage the fertility of the soil, and it includes small stock and a limited amount of cattle that they use to fertilize those hilly or hillside areas. In the dry season between December and May, livestock is allowed to roam free, so he can consume crop residues and then leaves of wild bushes. They grow red sorghum and millet, which are the basis of the alimentation on small farm, because the area did not allow to have big farms. You have small farms on the hilly sides of the mountains. They protect their farms from soil erosion. Also, this technique of terrace protect the soil from erosion by using large stones to control the course of rainwater. So they use local materials like stones to fix the soil and uh, to drain the water in the area. They also raise farm animals like chicken, goats, and collect wild berries. So, what we understand is that the area is very, very difficult for economy, for agricultural activities, but they develop a very, very a very original system to continue to grow crops they need. In some, for cultural aspects of the Mafa, you have the ceramics. Ceramics is very developed in the various kind of jars, and they are also using iron working, because the blacksmiths are very respected in the Mafa area, in the Kapsiki area also, and they used to be at the center of the life of the Mafa people, Mafa community, or for the other peoples of the region, because they build arms, they build some materials for agriculture, and also they they are used to, they are considered as a shaman, sort of shaman, uh, as prophets or healers. So they are very considered in that society. Mafa blacksmiths are very considered. So to have some a view of that area, you have in down of the picture, at the bottom of the picture, you have the architecture, and you have that hilly area where they are settled, and you see the houses are very small, with just a little space, but also very, very tight, so that it can allow them to use materials they can find around them to build those houses, and to live there without any problem. So you have the other picture, Mafa girls with some attires, and also you have a weaver, Mafa weaver, in his job doing transforming cotton and fibers to produce clothes. In the second phase, we have to talk about the Masa people. The Masa people are in the other side. We leave the west side of Cameroon, the western border with Nigeria, to the eastern border between Cameroon and Chad. We leave also the mountainous area to the plains around or along the Logone River. So historically, the Masa people are also called Masana or Banana or Yagua, because the main city of the Masa is Yagua. They are a Chadic ethnic group in Cameroon and Chad. They are cross-border people. So you have parts in Chad and parts in Cameroon. The Masa are said to be related to the Tika and Bamileke peoples. Why saying that? It is because of the origin of African people. Most of them claim to be originated from the Sudan, from the Nile River, from Yemen, before migrating inside the continent towards the south or the east or the west. So the Masa people originated from Yemen, as they said in the traditions. Then they migrate to Egypt and then the Sudan. And from Sudan, they cross Chad and then come to the Logone River, where they were settled now and where we found them around the Lake Chad area. And that is around the 800 years. While living near the Chad border, they were targeted by slave traders. You know that that area of Lake Chad, around Lake Chad, that Chad basin, it was targeted by slave raiders from the first years of the introduction of Islam in that area. You have some empires which were built, like the Bagirmi, the Bornu, the Wadai, and also you have those slavers, whether from Sudan or from the borders of the Red Sea or the Mediterranean, coming into Africa by caravans and taking slaves to the Arabic war or the Asian war, because you can find some slaves from that central area of Africa to Japan, to China, to India, to Russia, and of course to the Ottoman Empire, which was built around and there. So some of the Masa, to escape across the river to what is now Cameroon for better protection from the slave traders. That is the primary reason why today the Masa can be found in both Chad and Cameroon. Globally, this group totals around 510,000 people in those two countries. The Masa of Cameroon are numbering around uh, 291,000 people. The primary religion practiced by the Masa is the ethnic religion. So, ethnic religion is deeply rooted in a people's ethnic identity, and conversion essentially equates to cultural assimilation. Yes, you can find some Masa converted to Islam and to Christianity, but they are continue like many other African peoples to practice their ancestral religions, the ancestral beliefs. To situate geographically in the map, you have that green area now in the east between Chad and Cameroon, crossing the border. and around the city of Yagua in that area where you found the Masa. And where they are situated, they are along the river Logone, which is going down to Lake Chad in the north. So this that will influence the kind of living, because the Masa are mostly fishermen. So to show some pictures, we talk about the Masa and why the slave traders look for them, because they are very strong, they are very tall and vigorous physically. So all those features uh, make that slavers or raiders look for them for export and then for enslavement in the areas of Arab world and more and for so you have a picture of a massacre. You have the kind of habits in the ancient time at your right, and now recent, very more recent in your left. So you have the using of a different architecture, a kind of architecture, a kind of evolution in their architecture using many materials. So uh, to talk about the economic activities of the Masa enjoy most diversified food resources. They cultivate the staple early red sorghum, and they are engaged also in profitable fishing in the Logone River and its affluent like the Shari. Cash crops also were introduced in the Masa area, because in that area of plain along the Logone River and Shari, uh, colonizers introduced rice cultivation. So you can have it, you can also rice cultivation. You have groundnuts, which are also produced by the Masa in that area. The Masa settle on river banks in order to practice fishing. As I said, they are fishers, fishermen, and all their living is organized around this activity of fishing. They also graze some cattle. They are cattle lovers like the Fulanis. Why? Because cattle ownership is very important in the Masa area, culturally, economically, socially. The cattle ownership is very important, because in the Masa area for marriage, if you don't have cattle, you cannot marry a Masa girl, because the family asked a lot of like 10 cows or more uh, for the girls. So bride price is very heavy, if I can say it, in the Masa area. So to allow them to have marriage easily, they are also cattle owners. The Masa also participate in cattle landing or gola and traditional co-fattening cures called gurna. Yes, in their traditional rates they use to the cattle, and it play a very important role in that Masa area. In many cases, there have been pitched battles between Masa from Cameroon and Masa from Chad. So cross-border conflicts between the same people, because Masa they are all the same family. But the problems of cows, if someone stole a cow of any other, it can it can lead to conflicts between the communities, and so they usually occurs those kind of conflicts between the Masa, whether in Cameroon or between the Cameroonian Masa and the Chadian Masa across the border. So, as I've said, cattle is very important in the social relationship and especially in the marriage exchanges. An act of adultery, for example, can also be a catalyst for Masa group to go to war. Men who participate in the battles have helmets and clubs. They use sticks and stone. Masa are known as people who use sticks in their dances, in their cultural ceremonies. They always have the sticks, sometimes very big sticks they use for dances, but also to fight as weapons. So we have this picture of a Masa cultural dance. You see, I said they are very tall. If you are not tall for a Masa, for the Masa people, you are not a true Masa. So they are tall, they are strong, and also they use those characters or those characteristics in their cultural activities, in their festivals, as the Tokna Masana, as the Gurna we mentioned. So that Masa people, like the Mafa people, are peoples of the northern parts of Cameroon, but cross-border people between Nigeria in the west and between Cameroon and Chad in the east. They differ because the Mafas are mountainous people, and the Masa are the plain people. The activities also differ, as we said. In the uh, in the Mafa area, you have this terrace cultural specificity, and in the Masapi area, you have the plains, a lot of water, a lot of floods in some periods of year, and they are fishermen, so they use uh, to fish, the dry fish, or and also in the Masa area, you have the introduction of colonizers items like cotton, like rice, like groundnuts, which are produced in a very large manner in that area. Thank you for your listening, and then we can give explanations or more explanations in your questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah. So what
yes.
is? I'm actually Mafa, and I mean Masa. Excuse me. But what's the actual relationship between the two groups? How are they related?
I think there is no relation, no direct relation between the Mafa and the Masa. And geographically, they are not linked because the Mafa are in the hilly region, in the Mandara region, Mandara Mountain, between Cameroon and Nigeria in the west, and the Masa people are in the east, cross the border between Cameroon and Chad. So there is no direct link between the Mafa and the Masa. Unless you consider being part of the same country like Cameroon is a link. But culturally, economically, or socially, they are very far each other, so that any group have more relations with neighboring peoples, neighboring groups, rather than having direct link between the Mafa and the Masa.
Okay. Thank you for clearing up because I always see the names together and they look similar. So I actually thought that they were like almost the same people for a long time. So thank you so much for clearing that up.
Yeah, thank you.
So, Professor,
Wait,
I know that
Mutit has a question.
Oh, sorry, sister. Go ahead. Go ahead, Queen Mother.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to know if there's any historical or geographical connection between the Masa and the Maasai, because I see some similarities with their body types, the fact that they both carry sticks and they're both cattle herders. So I was wondering if there's any kind of connection between those two groups.
And they're both
The
tall.
Maasai who are in Eastern Africa and the Masa.
Yes, I will answer this question taking into account the works of Sheikh Anta Diop. And as we mentioned at the beginning, all African peoples claim to come from the same from the same area, from that area of Nile Valley, from that area of Yemen, crossing Sudan or Egypt. So if you take it into consideration, we can say that all the Africans or African peoples have the main cradle, so that some traditions could be found in different areas, but is it but there is no direct link we can establish today between the Masa and the Maasai, unless we consider Masa are also cattle owners, the Maasai also, but some ethnographers are considering Maasai more directly linked to the Fulanis rather than to the Masa people. And the Masa people is a very small ethnic group, and you can only find them in that area between Cameroon and Chad. And what divided them is just the colonial frontiers, but they are same people, same family, same group, but a very low number of people. You talk about around today, there are around 500,000 people. Where and Cameroon, if you consider only Cameroon, you have more than 30 million people, but the Masa are just 500,000. So you see, they are not very numbered, and you only found them in that area. But there are some similarities that is observable. Some similarities between the way of living, between some activities, like that cattle ownership between the between the Masa and the Maasai. That is incontestable.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. My question was that because obviously all the Mafa, the Masa, the Fulani, the Hausa, they all live in the kind of like the same area. Are the Mafa and the Masa, or the Fulani, the Hausa? What is the link between all them people? And I know that in terms of the language, is it the same language as well?
What I can say is that all those peoples live together in a vast area, but there are some exchanges, like trade, like some marriages, and so on. We can find such links, but they are different from their features. They are different from the languages. Despite the fact that we can have some words, you can it is, if you study the languages, it is easy to find that some words you can have them in different people, in different groups. Why? Because of proximity. Why? Because of lack of certain names for certain goods. If you want to designate some items coming from other areas, people use to take into account the naming coming from that different area. And you have in the, if you study the languages of many peoples, there are some words you can find, you can have in this group, in the other. But when studying the linguistic, that relations of proximity or exchanges between groups, it can help to trace at what time those words cross the original groups and to be used by neighboring groups and in different areas. And also you have the question of migration. All African peoples migrate until the arrival of the colonizers. They used to migrate from area to area along the rivers, near the mountains, and so on. And so that there are many mix up because of that. So, but directly from the Hausa to the Mafa or the Hausa to the Masa, it is just, I think, the first links were at the for trade. And considering trade, you have to take into account the reds, the wards in that area around the Lake Chad basin, where some operations were conducted by the first big empires in the area to capture some people for the purpose of slavery or of enslavement. And you know, in the around the 12 to the 18th and 19th centuries, the main item is slave. It is the currency, and it is also the good, the main good, who or which is looked for by all the peoples. For the exchanges, to buy clothes, you use slaves. To buy cows, you use slaves. To buy horses, you use slaves. So at that time, you have that situation of wars between groups for raiding slaves, capture people, and then you have some people resettle by the owners, they resettle in the slaving areas, so that it is producing a kind of mix up of people of that area of that region, so that in many families you can find peoples of different origin, husband and his women who come from different tribes, because of that practice of first polygamy, and second slavery, with the practice of having concubines in the rooms and so on. So you have that kind of mix up, which but there are very vast areas. They are very huge areas. You have to take into consideration that situation.
Thank you.
I had another question. You mentioned in your presentation that the Tikar and Bemeleke are also related to the Masa in some way. Outside of what you just explained in terms of the resettling of all the different tribes and migration, how are they also related to Tikar in the Bamileke?
Yes, the explanation given is that they all originated in that area around the Nile Valley. And the Tikars and Bamilekes were among the first to migrate down. So from north to the southeast. So coming the first, but if we talk about Tikar and Bamileke, you have to go up to the Mbum, who were the first and who uh, give birth to the Tikas and the Bamilekes. So some ethnographers said that all those peoples are from the same origin, from the same area. What differs is the time of migration. Certain have left very earlier than others who come after. But you have this situation, this consideration of coming, all groups coming from the same area, the Nile River Valley, and crossing Egypt or Sudan, and then coming inside or towards other orientations in the African continent.
Okay. So, Professor, if I understand, before each group coming from the Nile Valley actually arrived to Cameroon, we could say that there was one people then, because we had other
Yes,
people in West and then in East Africa as well. So if you trace, then people went east in East and West Africa, you could find that some of them are the one we call today Chika, Bamileke, Mafa, Masa, maybe Ewondo and Basa as well.
Sheikh Anta Diop was the main scholar who developed that hypothesis and that theory. And in his reading, in his writings, he he shown the link between all African languages, all African peoples, and for him, all African peoples belongs to the same origin. And he wrote, for instance, about the link between the Wolof in Senegal and the ancient Egyptian language, and he found many words with the same meaning. And in our department of Egyptology in Yaoundé, some peoples have studied the parentage between ancient Egyptian languages and the Bassa language, for example, and the Bamun language. And so there are many words scholars found, linguistics, those who are doing studies, found many names, name of areas, name of objects. And if you study the Mbum, there are many objects used by the Mbum people in the Adamawa, which can relate them to Egypt. And you found in the pharaonic Egypt some items, some arms, some ritual objects used by the Mbum, which are the same like those you can find in Egypt, in pharaonic Egypt, in ancient Egypt. So linguistically, all African groups have relations. It's why Sheikh Anta Diop conclude that for him, all those all those groups have the same origin, and the differences are very, very little.
Yeah, it makes sense. So the other question is that I'm actually reading a book which was recommended by Prince Gordon, and then I kind of like discover other things there, which they says that the Bamileke in Egypt, you can still find some of the descendants in Egypt today, which are called the Balaji or the Ferahin. And then I actually did a lot of research. I can see that there's people actually called the Felahin people living in Egypt today. So my question is that, so if you probably do maybe an African ancestry to them people, or maybe any kind of ancestry test, would that relate with any Bamileke living in Cameroon today, or any Chika living in Cameroon today?
I am not sure to understand.
Okay, I'm gonna rephrase it again.
Understand
So, okay, this is the question. Okay, so today we still got the descendant of Bamileke living in Egypt
Yes.
today. So the Balaji people or the Felahin people. So my thing is that,
Yes.
okay, if I go there today and then I test somebody there, I do an ancestry. I take someone from that tribe. I do an ancestry, and then I do a test myself. Are we gonna have a match? You think
Yeah.
that we can have a match that we relate? Or anybody ever tried to do anything like that?
Maybe. If you have not done the test, we cannot conclude.
Okay.
We can draw
Yeah.
conclusion after the test. But historically, linguistically,
Mm-hmm.
all the works of Sheikh Anta Diop, and you know that Sheikh Anta Diop used scientific methods.
Yeah.
Originally, Sheikh Anta Diop was not historian. He was a physician, and he studied chemistry. And in Dakar, at the University of Dakar, you have his
Mm-hmm.
laboratory of carbon 14. I don't know in carbon 14. I don't know if it makes sense in English,
Mm-hmm.
but it is by uh, doing experimentations in his laboratory that he come to all his conclusions that revolutionize the history of the Africa. It is by his works, by his experimentations, that he come to the conclusion that ancient Egypt, those who built those pyramids we admire today, were black people of black origin. It is with his works at the laboratory, his tests, and so on, that he arrived at the conclusion that all the pharaohs were
Mm-hmm.
African, were black people with the level of the melanin in their skin. You know that some of them were kept by the technique of mummification in ancient Egypt. So he took some fragment of the skin. He analyzed in the laboratory, and with the level of melanin content in the skin, he came to the conclusion that the pharaohs were black people. Those who constructed the pyramid were black people. But if you see all the films done about the history of ancient Egypt, you see pharaohs were white people. You see Cleopatra has a white woman, and so on. So they whitenize an area which is black, and all the tests of Sheikh Anta Diop is to prove that ancient Egypt is black. Men is black. Now some Arabs come and invade the area. We have Arabs white skin there, and for many people they consider that black have not existed there. And for white people who discover the region for the first time, and you know that there is a lot of ideology. They came as civilizers, so they cannot accept to find a civilization better organized, better shape than the one they claim coming to impose to others. So that they have written a lot of things about Egypt, trying to rattache Egypt to other parts of the world rather than Africa. They deny recognizing that pharaohs were black. Until today, you have many Egyptologists who are contesting that. But Sheikh Anta Diop in 1974 at the Cairo conference convoked by UNESCO in Egypt, in Cairo, he was alone in front of all the specialists of Egypt, all the Egyptologists of the world. And with scientific argument, he convinced them that Egypt belongs to Africa and that civilization is black. And in his related works, he established studying languages from Egypt to and in relation with the other peoples of Africa, he come to the conclusion that many languages come from that original cradle of Egypt, and for all different languages. So many academicians who are studying Egypt or languages are used to make that relation between different other African languages and that of ancient Egypt. So historically, it is a revolution, and it established that the beginning of civilization is in Africa by Africans. And uh, until today, we ask ourselves how, with the techniques in the ancient time, they arrived to build those pyramids we admire until today. Because those block of rocks to build those pyramids were not at the areas you found the pyramids. They were transported from Sudan, from Ethiopia, so from very areas very far from from that areas of Nile River where they built those pyramids. How have they transported those blocks of rocks? Who some of them have more than a ton, thousands of kilograms. How? And how have they arrived to put them together to build those pyramids with all those mathematical precision, geometrical precision, and architectural beauty? So until today, we ask ourselves. So with the works of Sheikh Anta Diop, we arrive to, better understanding that this civilization was among the first, if not the first in the world, and all other civilization, all other languages of Africa could be related to that of Egypt.
Wow, that was amazing. Thanks again. I mean, that answered all my question. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I
Professor,
invite you to read the works of, yeah.
you just dropped the mic big time. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'm sure that we got other people. We got a question here. All our Masa Mafa sister and brothers, it's your time to ask any question. Professor is here.
I think all my questions have been answered. I'm just sitting here trying to digest all of this that's been shared today. It's quite a great day. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you so much.
D, Etienne, hope I'm saying
Yeah,
that right.
I'm here.
If you could share, because and you might have been on here before. This is my first time meeting you. But if you can share, um, why did you take the test? First of all, where you're from? Why did you take the test? And anything that you've gotten from today.
Sure. Well, I live in Atlanta, Georgia now, but I'm from Miami, Florida originally. I took the test because I wanted to know where my people were from. And so I did that a few years before COVID. And COVID came and kind of sat on information. But 2 years ago, they were doing a family reunion back to Cameroon. So I took that as an opportunity to really dive in. And so we went over there as a group. And it's very interesting what he's saying about how we're kind of all connected, because I felt welcomed by every group, every tribe, everybody that was there. It just felt like family and felt like home. We got to spend a lot of time with the Bamu people, who he had mentioned also could be or should be and probably is all related to the Masa people. And so they welcomed us with open arms. We got a chance to go to the festivals there. Um, we traveled up to Yaoundé and actually met the prime minister of the country, and just it was just the best homecoming I could wish for myself and any other person that does, get that opportunity to go back. So today it's been really nice because the Masa people, there's not a lot of information online about them. It's almost, yeah, it's just not enough information. So this helped out a lot. It cleared up a lot of things because there's a lot of myths. Like I said, I thought the Mafa and Masa were almost one group. So it was good to hear some information about that. And just in general, just continue to grow within the African diaspora and just learning more about, yeah, all the different groups, especially the one that, yeah, I'm most connected to. So this has been really nice. And I appreciate you for doing this for us, Professor. This is, yeah, very, very enlightening.
Good, good. So let me ask you one other question that I ask everybody. How have your family been with this? Like, you happen to be the one that was chosen to take the test by the ancestors. Like, how has it been on that side?
It's definitely been a personal journey. I shared the information with all of them, meaning my siblings. I think they were happy to learn that they knew that we had direct lineage to Cameroon, but outside of that, it didn't go much further than that. So yeah, my family is my African ancestry family in terms of learning more about Cameroon, but my actual family, no, they're not there just yet.
So I asked that because it's kind of like we all have gone through that. That
Okay.
we've taken the test and we are over the moon and we want to share it with everyone. And you go and share it, and it's just not the same enthusiasm, let's call it, that you have, right? And so that's why I'm so and always give kudos to Brother Moncombe for putting together this platform, and Princess Mandu and Prince Michael for undergirding that, so that we have a place that we can come and share, talk, cry, and all of those different things that unfortunately we can't do with our families, right? Because we did it because we wanted everybody to know. And it's all right. They'll come when they're ready. I always say now that, for whatever reason, the ancestors didn't touch them yet. This was my journey, my calling. I'm the one that got it, so I'm the one that needs to do it. You know what I mean? So but it's just good to have this platform that, again, like you said, you can come and learn about the Masa and get a little more information and share. And I think the main thing is that you are in an environment where we're all going through the same thing. So again, we can come here and share, cry, explain, go through our frustrations about not enough information, too much information, whatever. But this is just the family that we're really trying to create here. Brother Malcolm has created, that, and the fact that Brother Malcolm has connections to all these different communities. So now you in the future will have a direct connect to a Masa kingdom through him or through whoever, right? So, I always ask that question because it always comes back to there's very few that have been on here that said everyone was overjoyed and excited about what they learned. So I just wanted to share that and see your reaction.
Thank you. I didn't know I thought I was the only one. So that's good to know. It takes a while for the whole family to come on board.
Yes, ma'am. You are not the only one. I have shed many tears. Like, why in the hell ain't y'all as excited as me? Like, we got some, like we know now. Like, who, like, it used to really get to me. It doesn't anymore because now I realize it wasn't for them. It was for me, and hopefully bring them along. Go ahead, Shay. You were going to say something?
I was going to say, Sister V, nope, not just you, which is the reason why I listen in with my children around. So they are close, they are here, they are hearing the meetings, they see who I'm talking to. I went as far as doing because Sister Gina came to a professional session. So I was blessed to have like a full-on reveal with my organization and the leadership with my organization. And she was on there. We got the recording. I scheduled a family meeting, got all my family and elders together to review the recording. Was really, cooked Cameroonian food, like went through the whole process. And yeah, no. No. But what gives me some of the best hope is the excitement of my children to be able to say, right? My daughter came home, she's in 6th grade, and she said, Mom, there's another Cameroonian kid in my school, and that's her friend now, right? And so now they have, and her friend moved from Cameroon. Her friend is here from Cameroon. And so now she has a friend, a direct connection. I'm in Maryland, a direct connection of someone. She hears things here, and then she goes and talks to her friend. And then she comes home with a level of excitement because there's either connection or something new that she's learned from said friend. And so what I've learned and all of the things that I've read and and teach, is this journey for me in leveraging the 4 agreements. If you've ever read the 4 agreements, right? The book, The 4 Agreements, one of the agreements is don't take it personal, right? So just as Brother Gordon just shared, it's not personal. I grew up with my family members in New York City during the crack era. How could I take them not being interested personal? They don't even have the mindset. And that's no shade to my family. That's just the reality. They don't have the same mindset to want to learn more about the foundation. And so once I took that lens, Shay, it's not personal, right? They'll catch up. They will ask you questions when they're ready, because I had to stop giving my thing. I create a family group chat. And so I would learn on Sundays, and then I would go into my family group chat and give a Shay synopsis of what I learned. Crickets, right? Crickets. And it's because they're not at the same level of curiosity. And that's not personal. One thing I do know is that when we were taken, our mindsets were shifted. And that has been passed down to generation to generation to generation. So we are the curious coves of Cameroon. We are the ones with the curiosity to connect us. And I'm excited to be with my cousin. So thank you.
Yes, yes. And
Wow, that was very strong. Thank you.
Sylvia said the same thing. And I really am glad that the both of you shared. I really wanted Professor Ahmadou to really understand the value that you bring to this platform, the knowledge that you have with all these different Cameroonian lineages, that each one is going to get something from here. So I just wanted to appreciate you and the value that you bring to this platform, because so many people are looking, there's not enough information about some and not the right information about others that is out there. So you've done the research and you're bringing it here. So I just really wanted to appreciate you in front of everyone else, and for you to hear the value of that you bring, because there's not enough information out there about the different ethnicities. And so this is the only place that we can really get it. So I just wanted to, again, as everyone has done, to thank you for all that you do, bringing the information to us.
My pleasure. Thank you to all of you also. Thank you.
Yes, and so anyone else have anything to share? Anything before we have Sister Jackie close us out? Professor Ahmadou, do you have any words?
Just to say, to come back to the question of naming, and I think it is very important. The naming is very important. When you have a son or a daughter, the first thing you think about is to give him a name. If not, you cannot call him. And the choice of the name is also very, very important. So in some groups, the names were given according to the rank in the birth. So if you are the first, there is a name they give to the first son, or the first girl, the first daughter, and so on. So if you go like in that mountainous region to the Kapsiki or the Mafa, you have that classification. And if you call a name, you can directly know what is his rank
Okay.
in the family. And for some peoples, the name reflects also some beliefs. It reflects the period of the year. It reflects many, many, many things. So
Thank you, Professor. Well, so just to add again about the name, so I know that some of us, you guys want to change your name. So if you do come across any king who want to give you a name, please ask them the meaning of the name before you accept the name, because sometimes it's quite important. You know, some name they mean certain thing. There's certain name which certain tribe they don't actually give that name to people anymore. You know, so there's a reason for that. So ask them, okay, what's the meaning of the name? What does that mean? So just get a clear explanation of the name before you can accept it. So don't take any name, because yeah, sometimes it could be financial to financially drain you. So you have to be very careful about any name you guys have been giving. If you're not sure anytime, you can contact me. You can contact Brother Prince Gordon, Professor Ahmadou, and then we're gonna check into the name. If it's a name who came from the northern part of Cameroon, Professor Ahmadou can actually check it correctly. Any name who come from the Chika, the Bamileke, I can have a look at it, or even the Ewondo, I can have a look at it. So it's quite important.
Thank you for sharing that. You know, I've shared in the platform my
yes,
my woes with my name.
friends,
So I do have questions about about my name, but Mokam, you brought up something. How do you respectfully decline a name?
Good question. Okay, you can just say that, or you don't need to accept the name straight away. You can just say that, okay, I need to look at Ari. I need to look at my character, because the name also is more about how somebody behave. You know, like the when I look at all the name in my family, everyone who got that name. When I look at the ancestor, when I get to learn about the ancestor who had them name before, they behave exactly like that ancestor. They got the same thing. You know, if you give it a name or an ancestor who somebody who used to be very, very, I don't know, communicate a lot, you're going to find out that the person going to be talking a lot, communicate a lot. If it's an ancestor where somebody was very quiet, very shy, and then you're giving that name, you're going to find out that the person who carry that name is going to be very shy as well. So I think before the parent actually give us the name, they kind of like look at the character. They can read it anyway. They can read it. So they can know that this child going to be this way. So they give you that name. So you can also say that, you know what, thank you for the name. But what I need to do, I need to take the name and I need to look into that. I need to think. I need to see if the name actually go with my character. I need to know what the name is for already after he told you about the name. And then, yes, you can investigate yourself, and then you can just say, yes, I don't think that name match with my character, with the person I'm. It's simple as that. They're going to understand that, because that's how the process to actually give a name to someone at least in the Bamileke area. They don't give you the name straight when they came from the hospital. They have to wait some time. They have to kind of observe. They know what they're looking for. They know how they observe it. And then from there, they gave you a name. I don't know anyone who had a name related to a specific ancestor who behaved completely different to the ancestor.
I think the challenge for us is that we're coming into the game late.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's going to be a one-to-one unless there is some way that we reveal certain characteristics about ourselves, and unless it's given to a prophet and the prophet says, okay, here's what it is, right? Because that's not the way it's usually done. Again, because there's certain things that's known already about the family, and these different things. So I think this is just something we're going to have to work through as we go along, for all of us, as we get to know this culture a little more. But I think that's a good answer that Malcolm gave, is that even if you get it, this, hey, I got to take a couple of days to meditate on this to make sure it fits me. And that's a proper way, because again, we're not here. And then you go to someone and ask, well, what does this name mean, and how should it be, or whatever. And so I would, and again, if it's not that, then what, right? How many times are you going to go back? Like, what is the proper protocol? I think we're just going to work through that as we go.
That was my next question, Brother
Exactly.
Gordon. That was going to be my
And
next
now I ain't got a
question.
name, right? Like they said, well, you ain't take the one I gave you, you ain't getting none. So now what, right?
That was going to be my next question, right? So it's like,
the way around.
Are you allowed to say, can you give me another name? What
Shay,
is
right?
Okay, that's where I was gonna come. That's where I was gonna say, because for what I'm gonna do, because I'm connected with the Bamileke King, the Ewondo King, and then hopefully that I'll get connected with the Chika King very soon, and then maybe Mafa and Masa King very soon. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna have a conversation with them. Okay, can you tell me exactly what is required by the person before you can give them a name, because that is required. You cannot just somebody cannot just call you and they, okay, you know what, I need a name. Okay, your name is Monkam, just like that. So the person normally in the Bamileke land, they have to connect to the sacred forest with certain information they got from you. Doesn't matter if you wasn't born there, but they need to know at least. They need to speak to you. You know, like just when you got a job interview, they call you for 15 minutes. So they just want to find out about you to see if you actually fit in the criteria of the job. And then they may not call you after that. They may call you and then just keep going. So at least they need to have certain information. So my thing now is to go back to them. Okay, what are the information you need before you can actually give them to someone? Maybe they want to find out about, what you did when you was 10. Maybe they want to find out about what you're doing now. They want to find out about what you like, what you don't like, anything like that, a bit about your family history. And then from there, they can access that information, take it to the sacred forest or where they're going to be taking it. And then that name going to come. So that's the only way we can do, the only way around.
So
You need to have a conversation.
if it's done that way, then I would say the name that they give you is the name that they give you. If it's just I'm giving you a name, that's different, right? If they've gotten all that information and go to the sacred forest, the name that you get is the one that they brought down. But most people get a name, they haven't done all of that, right? It's just,
Yes.
hey, I'm gonna give you a name. So, again, we're gonna work through all of this together and walk through it and see how it works, and so that we can make sure that everyone that goes through this process gets what they need, right? Because again, we're not in the sacred forest, but I feel if it comes down from the sacred forest, then they seen something good, bad, or
Yes,
indifferent.
yes.
And
That would
I'm
be,
just,
yeah.
it is what
Anything
it
will
is at
take
that point.
time, will go through the sacred forest. It's not gonna come back. It's not gonna come back with something which not real. It's gonna be exactly, and then you're gonna see a name will come from the sacred forest. You're gonna look at the name, the meaning of the name, and then you're gonna look at yourself, and then you're gonna say, okay, yeah, that name actually sound like me. You're gonna definitely identify yourself, because when I look at my name, it does identify anything like you.
Let's say that when I was to be named by the Tickers, they did send a form, a detailed form
Yeah.
for me to fill out and to give some information about myself. I didn't know what name I was going to get until I got the name. And in English, the name doesn't sound that nice based on the English language. Because when I told my family and friends, they all laughed at it and made fun at the name. But I love the name because it's actually, they said that was the name of the first queen or queen mother of
Yeah.
the nation.
Yeah.
And so I love the name. The English speakers still laugh at because it's Umpatu. So they would say, "Oh, Umpy Dumpy," and but you have to forgive them. They don't understand. And then when I was supposed to for the boobies, working with the professor, and he said we need the name, and I didn't have to second guess. I knew exactly what my name. I didn't have them tell me. I said my name is Boitiari because it means queen. That word means queen for the tea car. The Umpuchude said that it's a higher name than queen. It supersedes the name queen.
Yeah.
And then I was named by the Ewe and the Ashanti as well.
Okay. So let me just ask you a quick question. Now that you had the name, the process you did in the Chika land, that's exactly how it does. It does.
I didn't go to the land because it was during COVID.
Okay.
And I was supposed to do it on Zoom, and something went with the
Okay.
connection, with the communication. So
Okay.
the person who was in charge, because I'd already done the form and
Yeah.
all of that, so I didn't do the
Okay.
ceremony.
Okay. So they
So
didn't
I got
process.
the
Okay.
certificate with the name, with my name.
Okay. Okay. Well,
What I would ask is, if you do have a name, because we are now an African kingdom, to put your name so that we can recognize you by your name instead of Audrey. What is whichever of the 30 names that you have, the one that you have, you know what I mean? And that's for all of us, right? Let's begin to celebrate each other as we get names. Put your name in there that we can say your name.
That's true.
So we'll start that next week. Anyone else have anything to share? Any comments, concerns? I think this was a great meeting today because I think sometimes we just need to have this meeting where we can just share, which we've been able to do. And then Professor Ahmadou coming in with everything that he came with is just awesome. So anything else, anyone got anything else to share as we have gone through this marathon session of 3 hours and some minutes?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that yeah, next week we're not gonna have any meeting, and then we're working on something. We're actually working on two things. So I'm gonna catch up with Sister Jackie after that, and then also we also got a confirmation of the Maroon Queen in Jamaica. She's gonna be at the platform. She's gonna speak about the history of Maroon, which is something who concern us as well. And I would love Professor Ahmadou to be there as well, because all his knowledge. I'm also gonna have the king of the ReConnected Grassfields, Bamileke village. He's gonna be at the same chat as well. So we're gonna have the Maroon Queen, the king in Cameroon, and also kind of like speaking to other fun to see if they can be part of that as well. So we can have a conversation with the Queen of Maroon in Jamaica, a king in Cameroon, and Professor Ahmadou there as well. And so I'm looking forward for that. That's what I wanted to share.
All right. Well, if no one else has anything else, we're going to close it. But Brother Moncum and Jackie, the two of you stay on because you wanted to have a conversation. Everyone else can jump off.
I think Queen Mother Jackie was going to close it then.
Well, she can.
Sorry. Wow. This has been a juicy one. Let me put it that way. And the professor, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, he dropped the mic many times. There's no need to expand any further. He said it all. Thank you, Professor. And I think someone mentioned in the chat earlier that Bob Marley had it right. And to me, that tied to what the professor was saying, which is, what is a tree without its roots? One love, right? We are the original people. It's all about one love and us coming back together. So I think that's it. I'm not going to take it any further. It doesn't need to happen. It's all about one love.
Well, thank you very much. So everyone have a great week. We will see you all back in 2 weeks. And I'm sure Brother Moncum will put something out just to remind everybody it'll be 2 weeks from now. We got something with the Maroon Queen, and we're going to try to have all these other people on. Yeah, so everyone have an awesome, awesome day.
Thank you. You too.
All right.
Sorry.
Our DNA still remains the same, connected with those who are on the continent.
We are people who formerly were Africans who were kidnapped and brought to America. Our forefathers weren't the Pilgrims. We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. We were brought here against our will. We were not brought here to be made citizens.
In a 2018 paper by Berkeley State University, you wrote a paper, and in it you mentioned that the Maroons were the grandmother for all the other groups.
They're the grandmother, you know? This was the first, when we came here on the ship, some remain on the plantation, some run to the mountain from the ship. Some run off the plantation after being there for a while when they get the chance. Some might be there for a good while before they run. Some might be there for years realizing that Masa is going to beat them and they get the chance and they run. Some might realize Masa might kill them from what has happened, so they run. So people run at different intervals. Some people were on the plantation for a while before they run. Some people spend one day, some people spend a night, some people run from the ship. You know? But they run to the mountains and
found solace with the
right,
Maroons.
one was accepted as one, and they find each other. So it was out of that group that build nations, you know. Those that were remain on the plantation after emancipation, when they were free then, were set up, people were come out. Most of them by that time was so colonized, right. You know, because many times in this time we refer to them as bossy slave.
Bossy? Oh.
Yeah, bossy slave. And get bossy as slave. You understand me?
Comfortable.
And, yeah, and they think they're close to the master. And these are the ones that sometimes we carry the back news. Anything they hear about a black man trying to free themselves.
Our DNA still remains the same, connected with those who are on the continent.
We are people who formerly were Africans who were kidnapped and brought to America. Our forefathers weren't the Pilgrims. We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. We were brought here against our will. We were not brought here to be made citizens.